And it seems to work, except... Katja, you're awake. What is this? This strange empty space. It's like we're still in my office, but not. And Natasha, she is... What, asleep? Don't take this the wrong way, Katja, but I'm not used to having anyone share this conduit with me. For lack of a better word, I suppose you could call us interstitial. This light, this pathway that I've learned to travel through, that our sister Katja taught me to use, it allows me to move between parallel lines of existence. Yours and mine, for instance. But it can also let me move about in a given line. I've learned to do that in the past few hours, and I'm still not exactly sure how it changes things. You mean how we will all change while we are in here? Or how everything else around us changes? Both, I guess. Like, for instance, look, we're here, watching, but those GCN goons that just burst into your office, they have no idea we're here, or even that we were ever here. Lisbeth will have to talk her way out of this on her own. We just wait here until everyone leaves, until the heat is off. See, time outside can be accelerated, slowed, whatever I choose, and now we're alone again. Look outside. No squad cars, no corporate vehicles. You and Natasha can make your move. Go where you want, and you'll be off the radar. How do you do this? How is it even possible? That is the $10 billion question, and I have no answer. My one thought is that months ago, when I first began experiencing the visions and dreams, maybe a whole set of parallel realities came very close to each other, touched even. I do remember one particular night when I felt sure I was not alone in my room, like I had ghosts moving all around me. I'll never forget that feeling. And now I know it was probably my connections, linkages to my sister selves, all coming to life. Then why you? Why not me? Or any of your other, as you call us, sister selves? Why is anyone granted special gifts or abilities, Katja? I have no explanation. Only, I know I have this ability, and I'm not going to ignore it. That's why I came back here when you called, set you on a new path. One where Natasha was not captured by the GCN squad. What? You mean she was captured? No, she's right here beside us. You may not want to hear this, Katja, but here goes anyway. You're not on the same timeline now as you were before you called for help. When I came back, interfered with your line, I split the timeline. The old one where Natasha was taken back to GCN, it continued. But you... Holy shit, Katja. I just realized something very important, and I need to get back to my own line. Are you okay to handle things from here? You're saying I am not who I was? I am a different Katja? No, not exactly. I'm saying the same Katja is moving down two different paths now. One where I did not intervene and Natasha has been captured by GCN thanks to Lisbeth. The other, you, where I pulled you out in time, and GCN will take Lisbeth to task because you and Natasha have mysteriously vanished. Where you vanished to, that's up to you. I can drop you here or wherever you prefer, but I need to do it now. It's a lot to take in, but if I really have a choice, perhaps you could take us to my friend Tess's apartment. Alex and her, they have this thing, and he's fixed up her place like a fortress. Maybe GCN will not find us there. I'm sure Tess will be really happy to see you. And there she is. Almost like she knows you're coming. So I'll leave you in the hall here if you don't mind. Springing you on her directly might spark a reaction you don't want. Natasha, are you alright? Get your... Where? How? I will explain all, but for now, we get inside. And my sister Kat, thank you. I think. Call if you need me. I'll be off figuring out all the things I've screwed up in the past day. And give Tess my love. One problem fixed as usual, and a whole new set of problems rising up to shatter all my illusions. What was I thinking, going back into the past and adjusting things? It doesn't change anything except that one item? No wonder I've been noticing small changes all around me every time I return from a backward jump. I changed things in the past. When I jump forward again, everything has changed. New timeline every time. So now, ever since my little jaunt with Natalie back to see Katrina, where we set off changes in Katrina's timeline, both Natalie and I, we are not the same. She with the PDA, not the terminal. Should have given it away. When we returned to the line where she'd left the messages, we were now on a new line with a new Tess, a new Alex, a new Liz, a new us. But close enough that almost everything still made sense. And scarier still, when we teleported into that alternate line, the new Kat and the new Natalie, what happened to the Kat and Natalie that were originally there? Did we swap places? Did we displace them to another line? How does all that geography work out? Because right now my head is totally spinning, trying to figure a way for all this to make sense. Or maybe it's not so messed up as that. Maybe as soon as we left Tessa's apartment to go back, perhaps even as soon as I thought up the idea of Natalie creating a set of pre-recorded messages, that was when the new timeline, the one where Natalie created those messages, began. The one where she left her PDA active and not her terminal. The one we came back to when we returned from Katrina. Because what we did with Katrina, yes, it may have helped her and Nelina, but it didn't do anything to our own line. The key was not in the jumping back, it was in the exposure of Natalie to the idea while out of her own line of existence. The line we returned to, with the announcements Alex and Tess were listening to, all started with the pre-recorded messages in the PDA and didn't exist until Natalie latched onto the idea of those broadcasts. But now I think of it, the time movement was important. If I'd just given her that idea while we were in Tessa's apartment, how could it have split the timeline in the past? It couldn't. We needed to be back there at a time when the idea could still create a change in the evolving future, could still cause a set of messages to be constructed and set for release. Holy shit. It's finally starting to make a weird sort of sense. And really, do I think that going back to get Miguel on board didn't alter our timeline again? New Natalie, new Liz, new me, new Tess and Alex. They don't know about the GCN blockades, because in this latest timeline, I haven't come back to warn them. I need to talk to them. Same time, same place. But first, earlier in time, see Miguel and Natalie. Just about here. Then, yes, I gathered this stuff. And I pulled in a whole series of information that proves GCN's involvement. Oh, hi, Kat. Everything okay? Crisis averted. For now. You giving Miguel some background?
Thank you for being punctual, Kat. Is there anything I should know about?
Not just yet, Miguel. I think Natalie's situation's more than enough for us to deal with at the moment, don't you?
Judging by what I've heard over the past hours in Natalie's little broadcast, then from Liz at the station and GCN's denial on my way over here, yes, I'd say we have ourselves quite a little crisis. And considering that GCN are claiming Natalie has been kidnapped and is being held against her will, that makes us all very much involved. Wouldn't you say, Natalie?
Miguel's been testing me, I think, Kat. Maybe trying to decide if it's really me standing here in this house. Because if it is, like he says, he's up to his neck in our problem, whether he likes it or not. And if I'm not Natalie Chalmers, he of course needs to take another type of action entirely. Getting anywhere close, Miguel?
Given your reputation for honesty and directness, Natalie, I'd say you're making a good case for being who you claim to be.
Is this really necessary, Miguel? I've told you Natalie came to me for help last night. She and I have had an interesting and unusual time since then. But I can assure you that this woman is GCN's finest, or was until last weekend. And as she announced in her broadcast, she has information that GCN is very keen on keeping to themselves, which makes her, to them, a critical target. Hence the broadcast declaring a state of emergency, etc. They need to find her and shut her up, and we need your help to keep that from happening until we can get her story out there for all to hear. Let me make it even simpler for you, Miguel. I would be dead by now if it wasn't for Katie Anderson. She and her friends have achieved the near impossible by keeping me hidden and alive since last night. And I trust her judgment implicitly. If she thinks she needs your help to see this journey through to its end, I'm asking you to listen. for all our sakes.
Natalie, I've been a cop for going on 20 years, and I consider myself a rather astute judge of character. Your friend Kat here, I've known her for over 8 years. A roller coaster ride since that day she burst into my office, laid down the facts of a series of cold murder cases, as if she had committed them herself. How old were you then, Kat? 18?
20. And I didn't have all the data straight, not right away. But I was close enough to put you onto the murderer, and eventually get a conviction.
Damn right. So, when Kat arrives at my station house, I'm all ears. But you understand, dropping the biggest story of the century on me, well, even for her, that's a stretch. I had to be sure.
So what? Suddenly my big stories are just too far-fetched? You remember the state governor last year?
Like I said, you've always come through for me. But you know, I'd already heard Natalie's broadcast before you arrived at my office. More than a little suspicious.
Yet you sent us to your house. Shut down Liz.
What can I say? Caution is one thing. Trust is another. Whatever the real story was, I knew you believed what you were telling me. And that was enough to work with. Now that I've met Natalie, seen the two of you together, I'm ready to hear the rest. Even hide Natalie in my own house here, if need be, until we get to the bottom of this. Tell me what you need, Kat.
If I knew that, I'd probably have told you up front. I've been literally making this all up as I go, and it's truly exhausting trying to make decisions on my own with so many lives in the balance. So any help from the city's finest would be great. But the key thing is trust, Miguel. I came to you because I know I can trust you. How many on your force, even within your own precinct, do you really trust?
A handful, no more. And GCN is the hand that feeds those others, as you probably well know. It has been common knowledge for a long time that GCN are feeding trickle funds to police around the world, buying both loyalty and silence. But they do it so carefully, so subtly, and in such small amounts, that nobody to my knowledge has ever been able to prove it's happening at all. Natalie, if you have evidence of this kind of activity, proof GCN is involved. Most cops would do anything to keep you quiet.
It's even worse than that, Miguel. My evidence goes beyond bribery of individual cops, police forces, or even governments. It involves international conspiracies to manipulate our lives. It involves unscrupulous invasion of our personal privacy and ubiquitous bleeding of our bank accounts with the full knowledge of the banks themselves. And this, I understand from one of Kat's friends, is only part of the whole picture. GCN must be stopped. And so you see, Miguel, that we, Natalie and me, I suppose you too now that you're in on this, need to find a way to bring about this downfall, this demise of the largest corporation on the planet. Or die trying.
Or die trying is most likely. But I am, as you say, now part of the conspiracy for better or worse. I can restrict police investigation within my precinct. I can generate false leads and red herrings to divert energy from the real activity. And if you truly need police intervention, I can bring the pain. Just remember it comes at a cost. If any information leaks about Natalie, well, you know what that will do.
We'll deal with that if we have to. But I think at the moment, all I'm looking for is a safe hiding place for our girl here. And as you say, as many false leads as you can safely drop to dissipate the effectiveness of your force. Distraction and confusion, I think that's our best course. And I'm going to see what I can arrange to accelerate the release of Natalie's information goldmine. Don't know what that'll look like yet, but now that the information war has truly begun, we need a decisive victory for our side, and we need it fast.
Then, Natalie, let me show you my guest apartment in the basement. My daughter used it for a couple of years before she got herself established. I believe it should have everything you need, and keep you well hidden.
Kat, you coming? Miguel, what about your wife? I hate to suggest it, but do you... can we trust her? To keep this under wraps?
I would answer yes, of course, but all it takes is one slip in a conversation and all could be lost. Luckily, she is out of town until the end of the week. Business trip, conference or something. When she gets back, maybe we need to rethink.
Then, let's see this apartment.
Will this do the job, Natalie? I can bring in some food supplies. We don't stock this fridge these days, but that's easy to change. Bedroom and bathroom are through there.
You're most kind, Miguel. This'll be great. What she means to say, Miguel, is that she's scared and alone, and she wants to know if I can stay with her until this is all over. To which, I know you'll say, of course, Kat. Why don't you keep Natalie company down here? Am I right?
I couldn't have said it better myself. Listen, you have the door codes. As long as you get them right, the security system will not be an issue. I need to get back to the station and begin Operation Diversion. Call me if you need anything. And Natalie, don't worry. We will get this done.
No matter how many times I hear that, it's always good to hear it again. Especially from someone new. Because from where I'm standing, there's still this very large shadow looming over me, blotting out the light. And only Kat with a flashlight down here trying to guide me safely past. I think what she's trying to say, Miguel, is we've been at this a bit longer than you, and it's a pretty uncomfortable place to be. But if you can pull that shadow back a few paces, it'll give us a little more room to maneuver. Thanks, Miguel.
I will see you both this evening, if all goes well.
You're really going to stay here with me, Kat? Because, nice as Miguel is, I'm not sure I trust him. To stay quiet, to truly keep me hidden here. You heard him admit the force he's on the take. Maybe, but if I've learned one thing about Miguel in the years I've known him, it's that he keeps his word. Once he makes up his mind on something, he's as tenacious and resolute as they come. And for sure, Natalie, he has never taken any bribe money, at least not while I've known him. As for staying here, of course, I'll be spending as much time with you as I can, and you know I can be off somewhere else and back the next instant, so expect me to be here most of the time. But while you get settled, I have a little information to share with Tess and Alex, before they get themselves in trouble. Alright, you go look after your friends. I'll be waiting. You won't even know I'm gone. Now check the place out. I'll see you soon. And so, having drawn all those I trust into this ever-expanding danger zone, I whisk off into the light again to try, once more, to set my friends on a path I'm hoping will keep them safe. At least this time, since I've hopefully made all the big changes in the past that need to be made, when I reset the course for Tess and Alex, it'll stick. Now, to drop into the back seat for the first time today. The Charles Street strip. We can usually blend in easily enough down there. Sorry, Tess, but you can't do that today. That for scaring the living crap out of me for about the 10th time today, you helpless bitch! What are you doing materializing in the back seat like that? I thought you were looking after Natalie. And Liz.
And I'd whack you one as well, Kat.
I know, Alex. If you weren't so busy trying to keep this air car under control. I get it, and I'm sorry. Would you believe me if I told you this is the second time I've made this apology? And it still sounds as hollow as the last time. But I had to come. Because in case you hadn't heard, the GCN propaganda machine has turned us all into criminals with the flip of a switch. We need to get you out of town by the most heavily monitored and secure route we can. There will be total lockdown in all the less savory districts, and we can't have you caught up in that. GCN got our names, Kat? They know we've been helping Natalie? Not specifically, I don't think. Except possibly me. Although Liz may still be a factor in spreading bad energy on our behalf. Even though I've got some friends working to change that. Still, for now, I'd suggest you make for Altamira. Tess, maybe you can contact that thoracic surgeon professor of yours and get her to authorize your access? How did you... Oh, I get it. Twice in the same day. Second cable car? Third, I think, if my math is right. Still don't have this down, my friend. But you know I'll do anything. I know you will, Kat. And in spite of our suppressed outrage at being manipulated and maneuvered, we're still backing you all the way.
I don't envy your crash course in temporal dynamics, Kat. At least you're figuring some of this out. Maybe that's why you're the one with the gift and not me.
A fast learner I may be, but a gift with so many sharp edges, no matter how carefully I try to handle it, there are casualties on all sides. I'm trying to get a firm grip on it, though. And I hope getting better. Alright, Altamira it is then. I'll call Professor Thompson and get us in. Then we'll head to that condo on Wilcox, as planned. About that, Alex, we were there, Natalie and I. Set off alarms because we didn't have the codes. But that was another timeline. I expect you'll be all clear when you arrive, and you know how to deal with the security system. But I've had to move Liz and Natalie. For now, I think it's safer if you don't know where.
Whatever you say, Kat. We probably are safer without you and Natalie out there anyway. But I'm curious, where could you have taken her that's secure enough to keep her hidden? And Liz, what about her?
Liz will be surfacing sometime soon. But without Natalie, and after a little chat with some very convincing and very empathetic people, she'll hopefully be a lot less dangerous. Not to mention that she has no idea where you two are, or where I am. So she has no ammunition other than slander and a wickedly warped tongue. Glad you let her go, Kat. I was worried you might need to take more drastic action. And as long as she's at least mostly declawed. Sorry, Kat. She should be harmless. I wouldn't go that far. But let's just say that you two and Natalie are my main concerns for now, and I'm glad we're not lugging her around anymore. But speaking of Natalie, I need to get back and check up on her. Are you two good? Good. I'll make the call now. Good luck out there, my friend. And you. See you soon. And now, I hope, I can let them make the rest of their journey uninterrupted and believe that they'll be okay. Doesn't mean I'm not going to check on them, but with Miguel diverting resources and Liz hopefully neutralized, Tess and Alex should be in the clear. Natalie, though, I'm going to watch her every second because she is still the focus of all of this. And back to when I left her, looks like she's found the linens making the bed. Shit! She hears it too. The front door just opened upstairs. And no alarm.